Good morning, fifth grade. Today is Monday, March 30th, 2020, and you're starting a new week in Studies Weekly, week 18. In week 17, we learned about resources, natural resources, renewable resources, human resources. This week, we're learning about how do countries exchange those resources with one another. Not every country has everything that they need. Some countries produce a lot of oil, but they have a hard time producing food or water, things like that. So, what they do is they trade that with a country that produces a lot of food or some other good that they need, but doesn't have a lot of oil. Every country has some kind of resource that they can use to trade with another country. No one in the world has everything that they need. So, we trade them with one another. That's how the economy works, the global economy works. So this week we're going to be looking at that and little things here and there about how it works. Your first word wall word. I sent these out earlier today. Your first word wall word is OPEC. OPEC stands for Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. Organization, a group. Petroleum, oil, exporting. They make it and they ship it out. Countries. Right? Pretty easy. It's countries. So these are 12 countries that the United States primarily gets its oil from. We do make our own oil. We do drill oil and we get it and we can use our own oil, but we use a lot more oil than the United States creates. So we have to get it from someone. We get it from OPEC. OPEC is primarily in the Middle East. There are some in the Western Hemisphere as well, like Venezuela. But the majority of them are in the Middle East. These are countries that harvest the majority of the world's oil. They set the prices throughout the world. When they want to sell it, they are the ones who set the price for oil. OPEC, 12 countries that the United States primarily gets its oil from. Your second word is deficit. A deficit is when a country spends more money than it takes in. How do we get our money? We get our money through taxes. It's how almost all countries get their money. By taxing people, we get our income. Our country gets its income. That's how we spend money. That's how we can afford things for like our military, our Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. It's how our local communities can afford firemen, policemen, build roads, build schools, things like that. Taxes are how we take in our money as a country, as a community, so that we can spend things. We can spend money on things that the community or the country will need. A deficit is when we are spending more money, we are building more roads, we are spending more money on the military, schools, things like that. We are building more things, spending more money on building those things than we are taking in through taxes. So, it's the same thing as if you went to the store and you bought a lot of bubble gum, Bakugan, whatever, I don't know. Whatever you spend your money on, you spend more money than you have brought in. You need to come up with extra money somewhere. Well, we're going to be looking at what the options are this week. Textiles is your third word wall word. Textiles. In this unit, it's going to be clothing or fabric. Commodities. These are goods like cars, parts, computers, commodities, tangible things that can be used. Whether they are used as a whole, like a car, or a commodity can also be the parts for the car. A commodity are tangible things. Surplus. This is when a country has more resources than it needs. That would be a surplus. It has a surplus of goods, of whatever that resource is. So, countries that are in OPEC, they have a surplus of oil. They do not need all of the oil that they harvest out of the ground. So, that surplus can then be sold to other countries or traded to other countries that have a surplus of something else. The United States, we make a lot of food, a lot of corn especially. We always have a surplus of corn. We use that corn, the wheat, the food that we produce can be traded other places. So surplus, when you have more of a resource than you will need, it can then be traded. Currency, easy, it's money. Reach in your pocket, if you've got any dollars in there, $2 bills maybe, $5 bill, $10 bill, that is currency. Same thing with the pennies and the nickels and the dimes and the quarters. Money is currency. Your next word is exchange rate. The exchange rate is the amount of foreign currency that can be traded that it will take to buy a United States dollar. So, the exchange rate is how much of another country's currency or money you will need to buy American money. If I go to the store and I have Canadian money, they will not take it because Canadian money is not worth as much as American money. A dollar in Canada is not worth as much as a dollar of American money. Conversely, if you go to Europe, one US dollar does not equal as much as 1 euro or 1 pound in Great Britain. There is an exchange rate. Not everything is equal. It's like if you are trading baseball cards. Not every baseball card is worth the same amount. You wouldn't take a card that is worth 10 cents and trade it equally for a card that is worth $10. There's an exchange rate there. They're not equal. So the exchange rate is how much money is needed to get that dollar or however much American money or whatever currency you're looking to trade for. Your last one is a guild. A guild is a group of merchants or craftspeople. So, this is a way for craftspeople to use, get together and build an organization that can set prices or whatever. They can set rules for the labor, rules for how they're going to buy or sell things. So OPEC would be an example of a guild. It is a bunch of oil-producing countries that have gotten together and worked together to help set prices, dictate the rules on who we are going to trade with, who we aren't going to trade with, things like that. A guild is a group of merchants or craftspeople that all do similar things. So, those are your word wall words for today. We're coming up on 8 minutes. I've used up enough of your time. I miss you guys. I love you guys. I will see you soon. Bye.